Yo, what's up? What's good? Welcome back. We are back here on Philadelphia 76ers Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. You'll see and hear from producer Chip coming up here in just a little while. Coming up on the show, updated vet min targets. Philadelphia with a couple of roster spots available. How could they round out the 76ers team while being cost efficient in targeting players who are going to be affordable on vet minimum deals? First, you lay the groundwork here, and we set the table by looking at the 76ers' current roster. Really like what Daryl Morey has been able to do this offseason. I think among all 30 GMs in the sport, Daryl Morey, by far and away, the biggest winner. Landed the big ticket free agent, went star hunting, big game hunting, landed Paul George, got a backup center to Joel Embiid in Andre Drummond, who Embiid really wanted to come to Philadelphia. Drummond saying that Embiid is one of the reasons why I'm back, because Embiid realizes our backup center minutes need to be better. Jared McCain, Ricky Council, Adem Bona, balling out in their summer league debuts. That was fantastic to see. You get a pretty efficient three-point shooter who's older, but on the vet min, and Eric Gordon. You round out your starting five with Kelly Oubre Jr., a lot of athleticism and length there, three-level score, and Caleb Martin, athleticism, length there. And you have a couple of different options as far as what you can do with that starting five, and I do think that the Sixers' top five matches up pretty well against some of the top dogs in the entire Eastern Conference. It's malleable, it's versatile. As far as scoring options, there are plenty, right? And then on the defensive end of the floor, they can guard the wing spot, they can guard bigs, and on some of these switches, I think that the Sixers could fare well here. It's just a deep team that I think is the best Sixers team that we've seen in quite some time. And can you imagine if some of the young players take leaps like McCain, Bona, as well as Ricky Council? That would make the Sixers team even better. And what could make the Sixers team better? Some of the additions that we're about to get to. Grade the 76ers current roster, though. A, B, C, D, or F. How do you think it fares among all teams in the NBA? Let me know down in the comment section right now. Caleb Martin was introduced to the Philadelphia media on Tuesday, and he said a big reason why he came to Philadelphia is close relationship with Kyle Lowry, and Lowry telling him that it's a great situation with the Sixers. Lowry even said, I enjoyed my time there, and I don't think that Lowry would mind coming back. And I think that he would be a good addition on this Sixers team. He could still play, even though he's a little bit long in the tooth. I like what he gives you from a basketball IQ standpoint, and a guy who's savvy, who has been through pretty much every type of situation that you can go through at the NBA level. He could play on ball, off ball, and with that second unit, you can play him with Tyrese Maxey, you can play him with Jared McCain. He can help run things as well. With Philadelphia last year, 23 games, 8 points per game, 4.5 dimes, good defense. He was an offensive upgrade over Patrick Beverley, 44.5% from the field, 40% from three-point range. Vet min target number 2 is a name that I've seen some people drop down in the comment section. Luke Kennard. Not going to give you a lot in the way of defense, and I would not have wanted him on the previous deal that he was under when he was making some decent coin. But as a vet min, lefty shooter, coming in off the bench, he can go on a heater. He's played a lot in playoff games. Last year, 11 points per game. This would be a pretty solid addition here. The catch and shoot three-point numbers last year were awesome, and it's continued to be really good throughout his entire career. Last year with Memphis, on a bad Memphis team too, third in the NBA at 48.7%. On this Sixers team, given the other players who are on the floor who he'd be sharing the floor with, I mean, he's going to take that pass right in the pocket, be able to let it fly, and take those catch and shoot threes. Year before that, 2022-2023, 52.5% on catch and shoots. First in the NBA. And then with the Clippers, 45.8 the season before that, 7th in the NBA. Another name who a lot of people are high on as far as a vet min target is Lonnie Walker. And I definitely feel like some people know he's a Reading native. Bring him back home. Played for Jim Larinaga at Miami. NBA career, been a little bit up and down. Started with San Antonio as a first-round pick. As he's taken in the mid-first round and was just okay with San Antonio. We kind of saw him latch on with the Lakers, and in that playoff series against the Warriors 2 years ago, he performed pretty well this past year. You thought that maybe he'd be able to use that confidence from that playoff series and use that to his advantage with the Brooklyn Nets. The numbers, solid. 9.7 points per game, 38.5% from three-point range. I'm actually somewhat surprised that his market hasn't been a little bit better up to this point, but another player who can make sense for Philadelphia. We know how Marcus Morris would fit on this team because we saw it last year. Small sample size, but came to Philly, did the Philly native in that James Harden trade. Didn't really have a huge role with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And Philadelphia, this is an organization that's been a little bit mentally fickle. Sometimes you need a guy who's going to throw an elbow, who's going to get physical, who's going to talk some shit, who's going to bring that level of swagger and dog off the bench. Marcus Morris, that's really what he's been known for throughout his entire career, is not having any fear at all. And this is another player with just a vast amount of playoff experience. 37 games for the Sixers last year, almost 7 points per, 40% from three. Robert Covington had that weird stretch for a long while where he could come back off that knee injury. And Nick Nurse kept giving us updates. He might come back. He's getting close. No, he's not. He's going to continue to stay out. Of the players here on your screen, Robert Covington is probably the player I want the least. I know he gives the Sixers some good size to defend the wing spot. He can still shoot the three. But health concerns over the last few years have not been ideal at all. And those other players, they've been much more durable as compared to Robert Covington. With the Sixers last year, 4.5 points per game, 35% from three, less than 45% from the field. The process legend came home and just didn't have a role like he did, obviously, when he got his career started with Philly as a gem found by Sam Hinkie. So 3 former Sixers on that list. And we still have 5 more players to get to. Pick one former Sixer who you want Philadelphia to sign. Kyle Lowry, Marcus Morris, Robert Covington. Let us know down in the comment section. Dennis Smith Jr. coming out of NC State, highly touted recruit coming out of high school too, was a freak athlete. Could jump out of the gym, throw down some hammers, but he has never really turned into an efficient offensive player and kind of found his way back into the NBA a couple of years ago. And then last year, 43.5%. Highlight reel dunk package, that is for sure. He can be an aggressive physical defender, solid creator on offense, just a terrible jump shooter. And since 2017, 2018, he's been injured so much and just hasn't really cracked rotations. 56 games or less every year since 2017, 2018. Speaking of injuries, it's unfortunate what happened to Gordon Hayward. First game with the Boston Celtics a few years ago, playing against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'll never forget watching that game because he was the big ticket free agency signing that offseason for Boston and probably the biggest name in free agency that offseason. Signs with Boston from Utah, and then the injury was brutal as his leg and ankle pretty much just snapped as he went up for the basketball. And since that moment, you know, he's had some solid numbers when he's been able to play, but he just has always been hurt. And it's always something that has happened with him. He got traded sneakily to the Thunder and barely saw the floor, especially in the playoffs. With the bad Hornets team prior to the trade, 25 games played, 31.9 minutes per, 14.5 points per game, almost 47% from the field, 36% from three. Good. With the Thunder, 17 minutes per game. Numbers went down drastically, but the field goal three-point numbers not bad. Look, as a bench player, you could certainly do worse. Jae Crowder. A lot of people have mentioned him down in the comment section. You want to talk about a player who's going to give you that mental toughness and physicality. Jae Crowder, big enough body at 6'6", 235 to guard a couple of different positions. he is not the same player he was a few years ago with the Phoenix Suns when I thought he played his best basketball, when he was knocking down threes, defending at a high rate. He's lost a little bit of a step. You look at how the numbers have gone down in each of the last 4 seasons since 2020, 2021. But again, we're talking vet min targets here. Spencer Dinwiddie is an interesting name because he's capable of scoring the rock. He can get to the rim. Not that efficient of an offensive player. In fact, last year, not efficient at all, 39.2% from the field. And now that the Sixers have Jared McCain, and judging by what I saw in his Summer League debut, I know it's the Summer League, but you think about the elements to his game and what he can give Philadelphia, I don't think you need to go the route of Spencer Dinwiddie. With the Lakers last year, 28 games, oftentimes a DMP, and field goal numbers just awful. I mean, under 40% from the field, but 38.9% from 3. Lastly, Chuma Okeke. Sixers looking to go in the form of a forward who has an intriguing size profile. Really like the player at Auburn. 6'6", 229 pounds. Didn't really play a lot last year at all. Only 2.3 points per game. You look at his career stats, his first 4 years, he was an Auburn legend under Bruce Pearl. It just hasn't really translated to the NBA level. Not really fast enough at that size, nor has he been able to improve the three-point shot, which has been a big problem for him, and the field goal numbers go alongside that. Chip, 10 vet min targets there. Some names that come to mind, some thoughts that come to mind. The floor is yours.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of bringing back Marcus Morris. I think you need another forward in that spot, so why not go get a guy that was solid for you, that got the key to the city, that could be a solid fit off the bench compared to the other options left. Like, I'd rather have Marcus Morris than a Gordon Hayward or a Chuma Okeke. And then, I think maybe you could still use one more veteran guard. I would love to bring Kyle Lowry back just to have him on the roster. And, just to have another veteran behind Tyrese Maxey, sort of another player that can mentor Jared McCain as he grows into his role. So I would like that a lot as well. Outside of that, Jae Crowder could be that tough, if you don't pick up a Marcus Morris, who I'd rather have than Jae Crowder, that could be an option. Keep your eyes on Luke Kennard. There was, rumors that Luke Kennard was supposed to have already re-signed with the Grizzlies by now. He has not, as of this recording. If you just want someone who can come off the bench and shoot, another, pairing with Eric Gordon, these two guys that can just come out and light it up from outside. I mean, Luke Kennard, again, similar to Eric Gordon, not going to play like a defense, but off those movements, catching off an off-ball screen, pulling up with the left hand, like, he can knock it down with the best of them.
Yep.
As well as Lonnie Walker, still young and certainly has upside. So some decent players out there for the Sixers at that vet min, price range. So we'll see what they end up doing here. Another quick note, Kyle Lowry apparently is in talks with the Suns and the Sixers. So it seems it's going to be one of those two at this point. I'd love to see him back in Philly.
Me too. And the Suns make a lot of sense. They need that point guard to kind of initiate things from time to time. They really lacked that last year without a point guard or an initiator. So 10 vet min free agent targets right there. Name one player you want Philadelphia to sign. It can be a player on that list, somebody else. Let us know. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.